White Lady of Balid Drive. In the bustling city of Quezon, there's a road that most drivers avoid at night: Balid Drive. It's a narrow, tree-lined street with towering balid trees casting eerie shadows under the dim streetlights. The locals tell stories of a white lady who haunts this road, and many claim to have seen her. One night, a young man named Alex was driving home after a late shift. He was tired, his eyes heavy with sleep, but he had no choice but to take Balid Drive. As he drove, he noticed the street was unusually quiet. There were no other cars, no sounds, just the gentle rustling of the leaves. Suddenly, he felt a chill in the air. His car's temperature dropped, and a sense of dread washed over him. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw a woman in a white dress standing on the side of the road. Her long black hair covered her face, and she seemed to be floating, not standing on the ground. Alex's heart raced. He knew the stories, and he didn't want to stop, but he couldn't resist looking at her. As he passed by, the woman slowly turned her head towards him. Her face was pale, with hollow, dark eyes that seemed to bore into his soul. He quickly looked away, his hands gripping the steering wheel tightly. But when he glanced in his rearview mirror, she was gone. Or so he thought. Moments later, he felt something cold behind him. He glanced in the mirror again, and there she was sitting in the back seat, her lifeless eyes staring directly at him. Panicked, Alex swerved the car, nearly crashing into a tree. He slammed on the brakes and looked back, but the back seat was empty. Shaking with fear, he drove off, speeding through the rest of Balid Drive. When he finally reached his house, he was too terrified to look in the mirror again. The next day, Alex told his friends about his encounter, but they just laughed it off as a joke. However, that night, when he went to bed, he couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. As he drifted off to sleep, he heard a faint whisper in his ear, "You can't escape me." From that night on, Alex never drove down Balid Drive again. But the memory of the White Lady stayed with him, a chilling reminder of the ghostly presence that haunts that cursed road. The Manananggal's visit. In a small, remote village in the Philippines, people live in constant fear of the Manananggal, a creature that can detach its upper body and sprout bat-like wings to hunt for human prey at night. The Manananggal is said to feast on the hearts of unborn babies and the blood of the innocent, and its presence is always a bad omen. One night, Maria, a young, expectant mother, was preparing for bed. Her husband had gone to the city for work, leaving her alone in their nipia hut. As she lay down, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching her. She remembered her grandmother's warnings about the Manananggal and quickly closed all the windows and doors, placing garlic around her bed for protection. Around midnight, Maria was jolted awake by a strange scratching sound on the roof. Her heart pounded as she heard the flapping of wings. The scratching grew louder, and she knew the Manananggal was near. She whispered a prayer, clutching her belly, praying for her baby's safety. The creature's shadow appeared on the wall, grotesque and terrifying. Maria held her breath, trying not to make a sound. The Manananggal circled the house, searching for a way in. It landed on the roof, its long tongue slithering through the gaps in the bamboo to find a crack. Maria could hear its raspy breathing as it tried to reach her. But the garlic scent was strong, and the Manananggal hissed in frustration. After what felt like an eternity, the flapping of wings grew distant and the scratching stopped. Maria didn't sleep for the rest of the night, keeping her eyes fixed on the ceiling, afraid the creature might return. The next morning, she found deep scratches on the roof, proof that the Manananggal had indeed visited her home. The villagers, hearing her story, helped her reinforce her house, placing more garlic and salt around the perimeter. They knew the creature would return, but they were determined to protect Maria and her unborn child. Every night after, Maria kept vigil, listening for the telltale signs of the Manananggal. The creature never returned, but the fear it instilled in the village remained. Maria gave birth to a healthy baby, but she never forgot that night, always remembering how close she came to becoming another victim of the Manananggal.